The community is still afraid to walk down these streets. Again, Lisa, we've had confirmation from Police Chief Roberts that the first of the armed robbers has been shot and killed, while his accomplice, Marcus Rash, remains at large. The police are stressing caution and ask citizens not to approach this man, as he is considered armed and highly dangerous. Should you see Marcus Rash, call your local law enforcement agency immediately. As for the two wounded officers, it's still too early to tell how they're faring, as the doctor, and any law enforcement official that we've questioned still hold off on giving out a statement. It is sad news indeed, here in Brockville, Lisa, and our hearts and prayers go to the affected families. This is Mandel Ryan, Channel 4 News, reporting from the Yellow Valley suburbs in Brockville. Over to you, Lisa. The screen turned off. The remote was flung onto the black glossy table, flinging Pete into a frenzied startle. The elder had had his sights laser focused onto the screen from the dining room. Marcus Rash now paced around the living room, scratching his glistening forehead to a sore red pulp, before restlessly turning his head in Pete's direction. "You've seen my face." Marcus approached the jaw-shivering and bound-up captive, and now pressed his pistol against Pete's forehead. "You've seen my face." He would mantra on to Pete's further anguish, as he'd already struggled to mouth out his need to live. "I won't." Finally, the words burst out of him like untamable puke. "Don't kill me. Please, I swear, I won't say a word. I won't tell anyone you were here." Pete, his pinched cheeks and ever-wrinkled visage had trembled as he pleaded, which added to Pete's sought for veneer. Was he begging right? He could never tell sometimes. "You've seen my face." The lad struck his own head with his free arm. He monotonously continued the mantra, as he walked off towards the living room. Now, tapping his pistol on his forehead, the boy would just as soon swiftly turn right back around to pensively stare Pete down. "At first, I didn't care if you saw my face. I figured, PSSHH, I'll be gone by evening. But the bloody cops keep circling this darn place." Swirling his gun in the air to bring attention to the chopper flying overhead, Marcus had gone on to roar, as he lunged forward to have his feet stepping on Pete's toes. His pistol was once again firmly glued to the elder's forehead. "Now you know why I'm here. I can't just let you go?" His voice rose high and pitched to match the level of conflict being had in his mind. Yes, you can. Just leave me tied up here whenever the coast clears up. That way you can be sure that you're long gone by the time that I get to any phone. I wouldn't know which way you would have gone." Pete professed, desperately craning his neck to view the towering figure. "So you do plan on getting to the phone the first chance that you get, huh? You're dying to rat me out, aren't you, old man?" The neurotic fellow had wanted to stab Pete with the barrel of his gun, once again, but had fallen short upon noticing the unflinching nature of the deeply staring old fellow. "Bah, I shouldn't rush into things." Marcus would chuckle to himself, as he shook his head and walked on back to his three-person sofa, right in view of the turned-off television. The clanging sound of the pistol being tossed and sliding on the smooth coffee table's surface was a relief for Pete, yonder, in the dining room. Pete, his organs parched and mouth chapped, could only gulp air and wonder what would befall him come a few minutes from thence. Anything, even the slightest blowing breeze, it seemed, could tickle Marcus' fancy into an outrage of mortal consequence. Pete's home was a glorified powder keg. Pete watched nervously, though quietly, as Marcus Rash slumped comfortably into his seat, and stared lightly at the dark screen up ahead. "Please don't turn on the telly, please don't turn on the bloody television," was all that Pete Mulligan could afford to think. Until it wasn't the only thing that now made matters pressing, if not downright volatile. There was a knock on the door. Marcus stood up to his feet faster than any eye could reckon. The youth's eyes bulged out menacingly at Pete, and then at the door. He gripped his gun, having almost walked off without it, and gripped a hold of Pete's mouth. "Shh," he whispered, his eyelashes shaking like a leaf in a hurricane. "You make a sound and we all die today." His eyes turned dead still, his lips stiffened, and Pete could tell that the lad was nothing if not impetuous. The knocks would barely die down before picking back up again. Soon there sounded a man's voice, and the sounds of footsteps, people walking around the white picket fenced yard. "Police. Sir, we know that you're home. We spoke to your sister at the roadblock, down the road." "Mr. Mulligan?"